Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into one of the most profound, honestly kind of mind-blowing mysteries in human history. Thousands of years ago, our early human ancestors ventured into places where sunlight had literally never reached, deep underground cave systems. And they did it just to create art. So let's figure out why.
Part 1. Into the Deep Darkness. Okay, I want you to imagine leaving the familiar, sunlit world completely behind. To do this, ancient humans had to squeeze through these narrow, super claustrophobic tunnels carrying nothing but tiny flickering flames. I mean, think about it. If that flame goes out, you're trapped in absolute pitch-black darkness. But they kept going, finally reaching depths hundreds of meters underground.
And then, hidden away in this totally isolated, pitch-black environment, they went to work. They painted animals, symbols, and these incredibly mysterious shapes all over the cave walls. They dedicated enormous amounts of effort to creating art in an environment that was, frankly, actively hostile to human life. Which brings us to the central mystery of our explainer today. Just why? Why would humans risk entering the absolute darkest places on Earth just to create paintings? In a prehistoric world where just finding food and staying warm was a daily, grueling battle for survival, why expend massive amounts of energy and take such huge risks to paint deep underground?
Part 2. Subjects of Survival. To understand their motives, we really need to look at what they were actually painting. And to do that, we gotta grasp the sheer scale of time we're dealing with here. Some of the oldest known cave paintings were created over 30,000 years ago by early humans. 30,000. That is hundreds and hundreds of generations ago. We are literally looking across a vast chasm of time.
And when we look at the cast of characters they chose to depict, well, we don't see trees or rivers. Instead, they prominently featured creatures like horses, massive bison, fast-moving deer, and dangerous predators like lions. Basically creatures that were absolutely essential to their everyday survival, either as a critical food source or a deadly threat.
Part 3. The Hunting Hypothesis.
This intense focus on survival animals logically leads scientists to our first major theory. Ancient people might have believed that drawing these animals deep in the earth helped them understand their anatomy, respect the spirits of the animals they relied on, or maybe even magically influence their physical hunting success way up in the sunlit world.
Part 4. Shadows and Spiritual Visions.
But here's the thing. The hunting hypothesis doesn't totally explain the extreme depths they went to. So this brings us to a second, much more mysterious possibility. Deep caves were silent, dark, and entirely unlike the normal human world. Remember, your only light source was a torch. And that flickering light? It created these moving, almost dancing shadows on the uneven cave walls.
Researchers believe these bizarre environments might have profoundly influenced ancient people's experiences. The sheer darkness, the total isolation, and the echoing natural sounds inside the caves could have easily made them feel like they were entering another world entirely, sparking really powerful spiritual or symbolic visions. And this contrast between the two main theories is just so fascinating. On one hand, you have the hunting hypothesis, which represents an attempt to control the physical world. It's a practical tool for survival. But then on the other hand, you have spiritual visions, representing an attempt to connect with the unseen world, a deeply psychological and religious experience. Both theories suggest these paintings were powerful tools, just used in completely different ways.
Let's take a look at how the art itself supports this idea of deep intentionality. Because these paintings were far from just random decorations. The artists would carefully select very specific cave surfaces. They actually used the natural 3D bulges and contours of the rock to form the shoulders or bellies of the animals. In that flickering torchlight we talked about, those 3D rock shapes would literally make the painted animals appear to be moving, like they were leaping right out of the wall. This incredibly careful, deliberate placement strongly suggests these spaces held profound meaning for ancient communities. These deep chambers likely served as theaters for storytelling, sacred spaces for rituals, classrooms for teaching the next generation about survival, and ultimately, conduits for connecting with that unseen world.
Part 5. An Enduring Ancient Mystery.
The truth is, even thousands of years later, with all our modern research, we still don't know exactly what ancient humans were thinking when they laid their hands on those walls. But one thing is undeniably magnificent. Deep inside the darkness, our ancestors created some of the first masterpieces in human history. Regardless of their exact motive, they went into total darkness and somehow sparked the flame of human creativity.
They braved the terrifying unknown. They entered the caves, armed with literally nothing but pigment and fire, and left behind messages that have miraculously survived for tens of thousands of years to speak to us today. It's just incredible.
Which leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to end our explainer on today. Our ancestors braved the deepest dark with incredibly primitive tools to leave a permanent mark of their existence. So look around at our modern, technologically advanced world. If they could do that, what are we leaving behind today? What message or what masterpiece are we creating that will survive the next 30,000 years? Thanks so much for exploring this mystery with me. Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.